and it's going to be green light racing here at Monza. Here goes Noah. We're going to try and go wheel to wheel with the leader, Vic, once again, back on the top step. We did say take it easy. Oh my goodness. Sinead's going to go for it here into 14, 15. Side by side, is it going to be Mercedes or is it going to be a BMW?
Hello and welcome back to Season 16 of the Phoenix Sim Sport TCR Championship. And today you join us here at Imola for round 4 of the championship. 40% of the way through our championship, and we have got an absolutely banger of a track lined up for today's race. 2 20-minute sprints instead of the 45-minute long race that we would initially have had. But unfortunately, we've only had 6 drivers turn up for the race tonight, so we've had to make a few changes here and there. But it should hopefully mean that we still get some really good racing action. My name is Yannis Marais, and I'm joined as always by Arthur in the commentary box. How are you doing this evening, sir? Oh, stunning. I may have... There we go. Sorry. System issues. There we go. You might have to go through all of that again. Sorry, Arthur. Arthur, just for your info, someone said Arthur is not being heard on the stream. And I checked, and yes, indeed. So just run us through all of that again, Arthur. We're on board with Marcel Miku.
Right now, we're still on board with Marcel Miku. We just exited Variante Tamburello and hit the wall there. Very unfortunate. I mean, it's been in poor taste, but kind of like Senna there, except back then it was a flat out section into Variante Villeneuve, another fast chicane which leads us into turn 7 Tosa, an uphill wide hairpin where your exit, it means a lot because lots of exits here around Imola just lead onto a fast straight with a fast bend as we're heading into Piratella right now. A left-hander with gravel at the exit, so it can catch out quite a few drivers here today. Then we're going down into Aqua Minerale, one of the most famous corners here. As you can see, Marcel Miku slide there, spin out nearly. Could have been better, unfortunately, as we're going through the same corner again with Tassos Sklias. Uphill, sort of a chicane, not really. It leads us onto the next straight, where we go through one of the flying sections. You can call Variante Alta an airport, the way we're going to see these turn cars bounce over the massive yellow sausage curbs there. Very fast exit there as we're slipstreaming with Saverio Piazza towards Ravazza, which are the final 2 corners of this track. It's a double left-hander, both 90-degree turns in the downhill braking zone, which adds a bit of challenge to it. There is a final bend then at the finish line called Variante Bassa, but I count that as a straight as we finish the lap.
Yeah, apologies for the technical difficulties. Thank you so much for letting us know. We really appreciate all the input you guys put on the stream. HCE419, thank you so much for letting us know. And WND4 saying, we're so back. Wow, not a lot of people today, huh? No, we do not have loads of people, but that is why. We are doing 2 20-minute races instead of one long 45-minute race so that we can maximize the amount of action that we see on track. Of course, dependent on the actions of those on the track. As you can see, Saverio Piazza, error into the gravel trap. Easy position made. If it were a race, this is qualifying still. We've got 3 minutes remaining. And Tesos Sklias is currently on pole, 153.104, just 800ths ahead of Marcel Miku, the championship leader. Now, we've been on board with Tassos for quite a while, and he is the only Renault Clio that we've seen so far this season. And just earlier, Arthur and I were just looking at this thing and just listening to the sound of its engine. I mean, it's just so nice to see a fresh car, a fresh face on the grid, so to speak.
Well, yes, exactly. I mean, it's his first race in this championship, so it's going to be very fun to see what he can do, because he's already quite impressing us, really.
Yeah, I mean, taking pole position from the current championship leader and championship protagonist is not a easy feat. Although last week we saw it happen multiple times with the, with the German squad joining us. And even Vasilis Penetsis is looking quite strong. He's got the fastest second sector as he comes across the line now to set another lap time. And he actually takes pole there. Fastest sector 3 as well, 152.8 from Penetsis. Here comes Tassos now across the line as well to set a lap time. Unfortunately, half a second off of his best lap. Marcel Miku currently going around the circuit as well, coming towards the end and hopefully starting a new lap. But I believe we are heading out onto the final lap of qualifying for all, if not most, of these drivers. Vasilis might just get one more, but it's going to be by the skin of his teeth. I mean, I say that, he's off into the gravel and his qualifying session is over. Tassos Sklias is going to be the first to cross that line, though.
Yes, indeed. As I'm sorting something out for myself right now, it's not working, so full focus back to the qualifying. I should leave that for later, but yeah, already a 3/10 gap in qualifying. He's in the pits. I think he's doing a Sebastian Vettel, fully confident in his qualifying result, staying on that provisional pole and just waiting. Very oriful, so to say, from Bernetsis as Sklias. Yes, Sklias, I don't want to butcher any names here, of course. It's still on track. Marcel Miku right now, though, with the fastest sector in Sector 1, so it will be very exciting to see if he can get pole.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he has got 3/10 to make up here, just under 3/10, I should say. He's just about now heading out of the second sector, so we'll see whether he's managed to improve on his time. In the meantime, Tassos is pretty much just trying to get to that line before the timer expires, so he can get one final shot at a qualifying lap and defend his position on the grid, or potentially take pole position here. I think he'll just about manage it. Marcel Miku, in the meantime, sets a fastest second sector as well. He is going to be absolutely flying. If he has got a clean Sector 3 lap time, this is going to be pole once again for a championship leader. A familiar position that we've seen him take many a time before this season, and it's looking pretty good. Heading out of Ravazza, turn 19 and then turn 20 and 21. Across the line, let's see what he can do in the face of Vasilis and Tassos. Across the line, it's a 152.7. Pole in the bag, baby.
Exactly, another great qualifying result for Marcel Miku. I mean, 4/10 of a second on his own best and a bit less than 1/10 to the car behind him. So another great result. He'll probably launch it off the start, and then we'll see what happens from there.
That's if Tesos Sklias doesn't have anything to say about it, because he is still out on circuit and just about to... I'm not getting any split time, so it might be he's invalidated his lap time or something. I don't know. Tesos still flying around the circuit, but we're not getting any sector times. So we are pretty much in the dark as to whether he is improving or putting any kind of challenge towards Penetsis and Miku. Well, there we go. Faster sector 2 for Tesos Sklias. That won't mean anything, though, if his first sector was rubbish, and if his third sector is rubbish, then that also means it's not going to be good. It's going to be close. Saverio Piazza also not quite out of the picture yet, but he is 6/10 off of Christian Grzybowski for P5. He is yet to set his final lap time as well. Tesos, though, I'm not sure.
I think that trip into the gravel did not help him at all. I don't think he will improve. No, he's pulling into the pit, so he has accepted that after that brilliant sector 2, the gravel still, took its toll on the car, on his time, and that's Marcel Miku on pole with Vasilis in P2, and then Sklias in P3 right now.
Wow. I mean, yeah, it was such a pity. It would have been incredible to see Tesos Sklias take pole from the Civic as well in that Megane. But I mean, he's done fairly well anyways. He's done fairly well against the current grid that we have, which contains the majority of our championship contenders. The only driver I would argue that it's missing really is Anthony Perkins, who was just absolutely amazing last week at Watkins Glen. He just really stood out to me. We've got some comments from WND4R saying, sadly not feeling too well, so can't attend today, and Marcel Miku, the GOAT, is on top once again.
Yes, he is. I mean, it is unfortunate, though, that Anthony Perkins is not here today. I mean, Watkins Glen, what a brilliant performance from him. He knew he wasn't the fastest on track, yet he still gave it his all, pushed 110%, and still fought for every position. It was really such a beautiful ride, and I mean, 2 great races there.
Yeah, last week was nuts. I mean, being joined by the Sim Sports squad, it was amazing. Even just the teamwork that they had in trying to take down Anthony Perkin. I mean, it should be I think Anthony Perkin should be feeling complimented really that he's got that. It took about 3 drivers to take him down. Very, very impressive feat to make them worry that much about a single car. It's I think that is truly a big feat.
Yes, exactly. I mean, if we could see him here today, I just know we would see some beautiful moves into Aqua Minerale and Turn 1 Tamburello today. But yeah, unfortunately not. But we'll still see great racing regardless, of course.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. HCHCE saying, I've done 3 corners of high fuel running. This is going to go well. Yeah, I mean, it's of course this is very late notice for these 6 drivers that bothered to turn up today. The guys that have stayed faithful, I guess, to the championship. Here we go, though. The lights come on. I still haven't managed to finish to fix those 6 lights, but here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 red lights on. And it's go time. 6 cars go roaring down to turn 1 to start 20 minutes of racing. It's been a terrible start for Vasilis Penettis. He drops down the grid. Here comes the Clio. Here comes the Civic as well. The Audi also around the outside, holding off Christian Grzybowski. Meanwhile, Marcel Miku has had a decent start. Tesos holding off Saverio Piazza, who's had an amazing start, coming from P6 on the grid all the way up to 3rd. In the meantime, Wiebe Narashto is under threat from Vasilis Penettis, who himself drops from P2, and now he's being left in the dust. Christian Grzybowski also taking the opportunity to get up the inside of the Audi. It's going to get very interesting heading into the S's. They just about keep it clean, and as I say that, Wiebe Narashto is punted off the circuit and, yeah, unfortunately headed into the gravel. And Is that Saverio Piazza dropping back as well? There might have been some issue there for him. Christian Grzybowski, in the meantime, making the most of the situation up to P4 on the rear end of Vasilis Penetis, who somehow managed to somewhat rectify his situation, but he's still got a long way to go before he can catch up to the rear end of Tesos.
Well, yeah, I mean, slow starts unfortunately happen. I'm a victim of that myself, especially at rolling starts, but he's already back up to P3 Vasilis Penetis. And for Narashto, unfortunate trip into the gravel, but Imola, it's a very tight track. It's not the easiest to overtake. So I think once battles happen and drivers lose time, Narashto will have the pace to catch back up. I mean, right now we see Vasilis into the gravel. He lost position. Now we have Saverio Piazza closing in on him. They're gonna battle. Narashto, he'll get the time to catch back up and rejoin that battle and maybe reclaim his position. So I think we're going to see a lot of that today.
Oh, and Marcel Miku and Tesos have also swapped positions. I'm assuming it was some sort of mistake from the Civic ahead as we now come across the line for only our first lap. And if we've seen this much action on the first lap, I can't imagine what the remaining 18 minutes of action will be. Tesos Klios on the inside. Marcel Miku forced to go the long way around. It's not quite going to work out well for him unless he can get this corner nailed. He does, and he manages to take that position. He's got guts, and he's used them well to get past that. Brilliant move from the blue Civic.
I mean, yeah, what a brilliant move. He must have made a mistake, I think, near the end of the lap in sector 3, and that's why he probably lost the time. But Imola is punishing. It always will be. I remember doing a 6-hour endurance event in a hypercar here, and I was battling a car for turn 1, and I just miscalculated where the curb was, and I immediately went straight into the gravel. So you have to be constantly focused around this track, and it is not easy. Sometimes it may look easy to drive Imola, but it really isn't, and I think the drivers will really be battling themselves here to not make mistakes, lose the time, and yeah, just keep on driving, because unfortunately we did see Marcel Miku make some mistakes in previous rounds as well.
Yeah, I think Marcel Miku's one of those drivers where he's quick over a single lap. When it comes to consistency, he needs a completely clean track to do his thing. And even then, unfortunately, he might still have certain incidents happen. I mean, just last week was an example when we had Tradition Sim Sports come in, do their thing. He had one incident, and that was his race over. You know, he still managed to recover back up to a podium, but what would have essentially been a guaranteed race win turned into a bit of a nightmare for him as he tried to climb his way back up the ladder.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's still, of course, the championship leader, and I still see him extending his lead today. But after his starts, once he makes a mistake, it does get to him, I think. I think then he feels the pressure, especially if he then has to battle. And talking about a battle, Vasilis Penetis right now, brilliant head-to-head fight with Christian Grzybowski, heading through Varianta Villeneuve into Tosa right now. What brilliant moves are we seeing here right now?
Wow, lovely bit of racing, side by side into the first corner. Well, technically turn 2, Variante Tamburello, and then some, yeah, like you said, just some nice moves after that. Good cutbacks from Grzybowski to get him on the entry into the S's. In the meantime, we've been Narashto and Saverio Piazza also about to head back into another fight with each other. Those two names do sound quite Italian to me. I'm wondering, I know Narashto's not Italian, but Piazza sounds very, very Italian to me. It might be a home race for him. I'm not sure. Can we confirm?
I mean, I think it is. I don't know if I can see it via SimGrid. I'll take a look right now. Saverio.
He's not doing too badly. He's having started P6
Yes,
and now
it's a race
battling.
for him.
Oh, is it? Oh, brilliant. I mean,
So, yeah,
he's got 15 minutes left to make a move by the end of the first race, but then come race 2, he'll be starting on pole, and judging by his race start earlier, if he can get a good race start and then let the others get tangled up in their battle for P2, that might just get him a podium or a win. Could be anything.
Yes, exactly. I mean, he just has to nail the start. That's mainly it, and then hope everybody else gets caught in a battle, because once you're too wide here, if there's a third car, they're stuck. They're in an endless hell of chasing the other cars and hoping for a mistake to then take the opportunity to make the move. But right now, I mean, it's clear Narashto has some pace, but making the move stick is the main difficulty right now, as it's unfortunately the only real battle we're seeing on track right now. So kind of hoping for some more mistakes up the grid for some more battles, but this is still great and very enjoyable to watch, especially with how the sun's positioned right now.
That sunset. I mean, I heard earlier it was initially set to 6 p.m. and no one could see a single thing. But now at least we've managed to get the timing right, so now it's a bit more, we can actually see what's going on. And I have to say, I do prefer races in the daylight. It's just so much easier to see the cars, so much easier to recognize the drivers when you can actually see the liveries and you can see the cars in their full glory. I mean, sometimes, if it's a livery you don't particularly like, then you might enjoy night racing. It is a whole different kind of vibe to it, isn't it? Because your depth perception's out. You just feel the fatigue so much easier when the sun's not out. And it's a different type of racing altogether. Speaking of different kinds of racing, Marcel Miku is now starting to feel the pressure from Tesos Sklias, who just manages to catch up to Marcel Miku every now and then. Let's see whether he can make a move. I don't think it'll be this lap. Tesos Sklias has just set the fastest lap at 153.3. Christian Grzybowski, pretty much all of them setting their fastest laps this time round. Vasilis Penetsis, the fastest of them all, the 152.7. That's what our qualifying pole lap was like from Marcel Miku. 52.8 is a good lap. Oh, Marcel Miku's made a mistake. Here comes Tesos. He's pounced on that and said, thank you very much. I'll take that with both hands, please. And I'll take the race lead. Whether he can hold off a raging blue Honda Civic is going to be the remaining question for the next 10 minutes. In the meantime, we've got Piazza and Weber Narashto to also look at.
Well, I think the battle between Sklias and Marcel Miku will be mainly down to setup preferences. I think it's going to be a battle of more downforce and more top speed. I think that's going to be the polarizing, setup change that we're going to see here today, as Narashto right now down the inside makes the move stick for now, but around the outside Piazza doesn't give up a bit of gravel, and that costs a position for now, but I can definitely see Piazza fighting for that position yet again later.
Whoa! And Weber Narashto loses it. Major sideways action. Here comes Piazza. 0.03 seconds as they make their way down towards the chicane. He's got the inside line, but this isn't quite the safest corner to overtake on. Not necessarily the nicest, but you've got all these curbs to work with as a touring car, and they do manage to make their way through there without major incidents. And Weber Narashto has lost out on that position, but he's not quite giving up. Round the outside, here we go, heading into Ravazza. It's going to be an interesting couple corners. On the defensive goes the Civic. The Audi's got the better racing line, but he's round the outside now, forced slightly onto the gravel. I think there was enough space from both of them, though. Woo! Interesting lines from the Civic. It's going to be an interesting run down to Tamburello.
Exactly. Like I said before in qualifying, you can have some beautiful drifts down at Aqua Minerale, but Narashto, the amount of curb he took at Variante Alta, if I'm correct. Yes, Variante Alta. Wow, just the amount of curb he took. I think he nearly went onto the grass as they're still going at it into the next lap. Will we see a switch back right now? No, but they're still side by side into Villeneuve. Brilliance, utter brilliance we're looking at right now, as they both are respectful, leaving each other just the right amount of space to go through these corners, through these fast chicanes, which is difficult to go side by side. They still allow the room and they still show the respect for the battle. So bravo to both of them right now.
Wow, incredible side-by-side action. As you said, just respecting the space that they've left for each other. Wow. And yeah, I agree with WND4, the best fights. I wouldn't say always, but most of the time, it's the guys at the back who have got nothing to lose. They're just fighting for points. They're just fighting for the better position, and they have nothing to lose. So they're going to give it their absolute all. And these guys are giving it their absolute all while still respecting it. So there's a maturity here that we don't often see even from the drivers up at the front, which is fantastic to watch. As we can see, Weber Narashto closing the ground on Severo Piazza despite having a slightly tricky exit side by side. He's got the inside line now heading into turn 16, 17 and now 18 for Ravaza under braking. The Civic has lurched ahead and he does make it to the apex first. Good judgment of distance there to take that position, well, or hold on to it, shall I say. In the meantime, we've got a Marcel Miku and Tasos Skilios now back at it once again. The battle for the race lead. Tasos leaves him just enough room on that first chicane. Is going to be a question of what he can do into the second if he can get a decent exit. It seems as though the Clio has managed to get out of that corner slightly better, and he's managed to keep that Civic at bay for just a while longer.
I must say, Narashto's pace through Varianta Alta is just rapid. We can call Varianta Narashto from now on. Just how he masters that corner, constantly gets a great exit there. As Marcel Miku is still putting the pressure on Sklius right now. Tricky braking zone, but I think Marcel Miku might try and make a move into Aqua Minerale. He has the overspeed right now. He's trying to make a look, but he's a bit too far back, and he mistakes there. Yes, for Marcel Miku, unfortunately. He power slides through that corner there.
Oh, it always seems to be the oversteer into that right-hander of Aqua Minerale for these guys. We've seen that mistake from Weber Narashto as well, who himself was just about to enter that same section, chasing Saverio Piazza as well. It seems to be, as we were talking about just last week, it's all about trying to maintain a certain balance on the car, and the Civic is maintaining a defensive line into Gresini, turns 14 and 15, doing very well to defend that position on the straights and into the braking zones, and he's done a fantastic job at holding on to that position for the last, I'd say, about 10 minutes already. We've only got 6.5 minutes to go, and we have two major battles still going on. We've been Narashto sideways, and he takes out the Civic as well! Oh my goodness! That could not have gone any worse for Weber Narashto. That was the worst spot to lose it, and just really unfortunate for Piazza.
I mean, I think what happened there is I mean, it's strange, really. I want to say that that Aqua Minerale, it's easier to lose your rear because you're downhill braking and turning, so your suspension gets so compressed that the rear becomes so light, so it's easier to spin out. But to have it happen there in a straight line braking zone, losing the rear like that, that is very strange though. So
what's strange as well is Marcel Miku dropping to P4. Tasos Sklios is holding on to the race lead. Christian Grzybowski promoted up to P2. Vasilis Panettis P3, and he's all of a sudden got a raging blue Civic behind him yet again.
The only thing that I could imagine that might have happened to Marcel Miku is heading into Tamburello, trying to use all the curb on entry, not really in the corner yet, but still on the straight as he goes off again. It's not looking good for him right now. I think he overshot the curb maybe, went onto the grass, which sent him straight through the gravel trap. Talking from experience here, you do not want that to happen because it loses you so much time. As again, Narashto closes up again. They're still fighting, still power sliding through that corner. I mean, I think he's found this fun for the race.
Oh, this is fantastic. Even at the back of the grid, he can have the most fun sliding through there. But I will say, Miku probably not having any fun sliding his car through there. He's just lost his chance at a race win here, I believe, to make up 18, well, let's see, 2 seconds to Vasilis. It's another 2.5 up to Christian, and then it's 3.5 up to Tasos. That's going to add up to 8 seconds of a gap that he needs to close to take the race win here. at best, potentially a podium. But Vasilis Panetis, he was absolutely rapid during qualifying, posing some good competition up against Marcel Miku and Tesos Sklias as we head into our final few laps of racing. We've been Rashto still on the rear end of Saverio Piazza despite his mistakes. He's got the pace tonight, as you were saying earlier, but it's just trying to maintain the stability of the car, keep that car on track. That is going to be the main challenge, and keep the stability of that car. And I just want to draw your attention as well to the Twitch chat, which is absolutely hilarious, because earlier we had commentator Curse talking about Marcel Miku, and then we've literally, I think it was literally just as he was losing the rear end, WND4R said, I believe in Rashto. And then, of course, the spin happened and he was like, never mind, it's an audience curse. And he asked, is this my sign to become a commentator one day? Do it.
Well, I'd say one of the good curse right now is saying something about that the drivers should be in the close back right now for the final lap. But that's just my opinion. I just want to see a bit of chaos in the final lap.
He did say both drivers are mentioned in chat in a positive way. Losing it is a sign, isn't it? Yeah, it comes organically. That's the thing, is like you can't force this kind of stuff. It's the stuff that just happens as you go. Like you can't, as a commentator, we can't just say, oh, look at Tesos Sklias is going to cross the line and win, and hope that that's a commentator's curse. It's just not organic. It's just not real, is it? It always happens when you least expect it. Just a rundown then of our top three at the moment. Tesos Sklias currently in the race lead. Christian Grzybowski in P2, with Vasilis Panetis picking up P3. Marcel Miku in the background looming, but he's not getting any closer. 2 seconds off of Vasilis. 1.6 seconds between Vasilis and Christian, though, for P2, and you can see Marcel Miku still making errors. It might be something to do with his tyre wear. What do we think?
I mean, it could be. It's some heavy curbs here. You use your tires quite a lot in the fast chicanes for more rotation, so tyre wear could definitely be playing a role right now, which just helps Christian Grzybowski right now catch up a few points for the championship fight, where he's only, quick maths, 12 points behind right now. I don't think he'll be making up that much in race 1, but if he does the same in race 2, I think he might be leading, or they might be around equal, because I mean, yeah, no, I think Marcel Miku will still be leading, but the gap will have shortened by quite a bit. I mean, points are points.
Exactly that. Points are points, and that's why Saverio Piazza and Wiebe Narashto are still going at it, and that's why Narashto continues chasing Piazza in the Civic ahead. This is Christian Grzybowski, who we were talking about earlier in that pink Cupra. He's done actually fairly well this season compared to previous performances maybe. He's had 3 podiums in 5 races so far, and 2 P4 finishes last week at Watkins Glen. So his consistency has just been on another level this season. And again, Wiebe Narashto and Saverio Piazza at it once more. Wiebe Narashto, in fact, is currently P5 in the championship with a single podium to his name and a top 5 finish, currently on 94 points, 6 points behind Sebastian Schoenfeld, who was our double-header winner at Watkins Glen last week, but he was with Tradition Simsport, so it's not likely we're going to see the German return for some more racing action until later on in the season. But it just shows how much a race win can really just boost your points in the championship. I mean, he participated for a single double header and he got up to P4 in the championship, having not participated in 2 races. That's mad.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if Tradition Sim Sports were here for the rest of the season, and then from the start of the season, we would have such an early championship win, I think. And that's not to bash these drivers, they're still of course fast, but the way they worked together and dominated was fascinating. As Marcel Miku right now on the final lap making the move, because Vasilis Panetis is off in the gravel. I mean, it helped him quite a bit, but yeah, after quite a bit of heartbreak from Miku, it's at least something you can be slightly happy of. But I know from previous interviews with Miku, he won't be happy. He wants that win. He was on pole. He lost the position. He's P3 now, losing 2 positions. It stings for him, but still, nevertheless, in my opinion, a great result despite the errors he unfortunately made today. As Tassos Sklias, his first race here in this season of TCR around Imola, he wins it in quite a decent fashion with nearly 6 seconds to the car behind him. Brilliant result from him here in race 1. Krzyzewski P2 on the podium, and Marcel Miku after a recovery drive P3 with Bernetsis P4 as Piazza after a long, a race-long fight pretty much with Narashto will come through the line in P5 with not the biggest margin, as Narashto finishes up P6 and he will be taking the feature race pole for race 2.
Wow. That was a lovely battle from Saverio Piazza and Weber Narashto right to the line to keep us all hooked for the end of the first race. We've got another one coming up though, don't go anywhere. We've got another 20 minutes of action after this with a reverse grid. So now that means Saverio Piazza will start on the front row of the grid alongside Weber. No, it's not Weber Narashto, is it? Let me just get my qualifying results up again. Yeah, it's going to be Saverio Piazza alongside Christian Grzybowski on that front row. Weber Narashto P3, Tassos Sklias in P4, Vasilis Penetsis down into P5, and Marcel Miku starting from the back of the grid.
Just wow. It's going to be, it still says final lap, but everybody's finished their lap, so the race should be over. But yeah, still with a race in sunset is so nice. Right now in a bit of a shadowy corner, going up the hill, just immediately the sun blasting into your face. Surprised. Some of these cars do have a sun strip, so that might be helping their eyes a bit, but not completely.
Yeah, the sun's not really been too bad, is it? The only section where I'd be worried the sun's getting into the eyes is maybe down Rivasa. But even then, it's like a 50-50. It's
Yeah.
I'd probably be more worried heading into Accomunarale kind of section, just heading into the second sector.
If I had all the money in the world, I would buy a house next to the track here. It looks so nice, and then you have a nice overtaking zone as well. Take a look at, so just a thought I had. They probably cost a boatload of cash. Yeah, at least it's a sim race. I think in real life the sun is much more of an issue to drivers once there are no clouds in the sky, of course.
Yeah, that's another factor to take into account. And what makes it interesting racing at this time of the day, which is about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, that's just after the track has had all day to soak in the sun, and now the sun's gone away. Now we've got the shadows being cast, and now the temperature starts dropping, and that's when the tarmac temperature also starts dropping. So if it were a longer race, it would be something to take into account. But because it's only 2 sprint races, it doesn't really factor into race strategy or race setup as much. Might be something to take into account by the end of the race. So, 20 minutes is still quite a large gap. But, and the big picture and kind of the whole how do you say it? There's a certain way of saying it. In the scope of things, in the wide scope of things. No, that's still not quite right. How does that saying go?
the grand scheme of things.
The grand scheme of things. There we go. That's another way. There we go. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter compared to these longer races where it's 40 minutes up to an hour, stuff like that. HC saying, I have no idea for setups. Every time under braking, if I turn even 5 degrees, the rear goes to Narnia. Yes. Not very ideal, is it? I mean, depends on your driving style. I mean, if you're an oversteer expert, then it's very much your style of driving. But if not, I can understand why it might be slightly concerning when you find your rear end entering the corner before your front. It is a very disconcerting. It's a disconcerting position for sure for those who are unfamiliar with it. Just get a good trust.
The car should maybe be entered into a drift competition then.
Maybe. As it stands then, we've got Saverio Piazza starting on the front row of the grid, Weber Narashto in P2 as we get a very weird starting angle as usual. The 6 red lights come on for the second time this evening. And it is go time. 6 cars go roaring down towards turn 1 to start another 20 minutes of racing. It's again been a good start for Marcel. Miku Piazza immediately onto the defensive, but he can't cover off that blue Civic coming to the inside line. Weber Narashto, he sticks to his line. Tesos Sklias up into P4. Christian Grzybowski down. There we go. Marcel Miku takes the race lead from P3 on the grid. And Weber Narashto not quite able to apply any pressure. Everyone through there fairly uniformly. And WND4R is predicting a Narashto race win here. It's going to be an interesting thing if it does. And you can see Tesos getting slightly out of shape. Vasilis Panetsis is ready to pounce on him around the outside. He goes. Christian Grzybowski also looking for an opportunity. Just about enough space given. Beautiful racing from the Audi driver to get up into P4. Tesos drops down to P5 and now under pressure from Christian Grzybowski.
All I have to say is complete and utter brilliance from Marcel Miku yet again at that start. Very unfortunate start from Narashto though. You can see him stall a bit there, but right now Grzybowski putting some positive pressure on Tasos Sklias, and we haven't seen any real mistakes yet. I saw a bit of gravel flying up earlier, but it wasn't enough to slow the car down too much, as right now they're all following each other in a nice straight. We're gonna see Bernetsis try and make a move into the upcoming corner on Narashto, who will come out victorious there at Rivazza.
Ooh. Lovely move up the inside from the red Audi. Weber Narashto just touches the gravel on the outside on the exit of turn 19, and that's cost him the position, and that is also putting him under pressure now from Tesos Sklias behind. Weber Narashto, having started on the front row of the grid, has now dropped down to P4 and will soon have lost that to Tesos Sklias if he's not careful, because that Clio has now got the inside line heading into turn 2, heading into Variante Tamburello. And there we go, that is the move done from the Clio. Not quite yet, but that's held him up and he's into the gravel. Slight bit of contact, and Weber Narashto has dropped to the back of the grid. I think Christian Grzybowski had a little bit of blame there for what happened, but it's a very odd camera angle to judge anything now. We'll leave the stewards up to that, but hard break for the Audi driver.
I must say, WND4R yet again with the audience curse, unfortunately, or the spectators curse, however you want to call it. It's unfortunate, but yeah, then again, kind of funny, but I really hope Narashto has the capabilities to catch back up again, because we know he can deliver us with a good battle and some good pleasure to watch him battle. I mean, it's the same thing, I say it twice, so my bad there, as Grzybowski still following Sklias. Great
I'm
race
surprised
thus far.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's not really been making up too many positions. It's been a quiet start for him. He's usually up there much quicker. Vasilis Panetsis also someone to look out for. He's now closing ground on Saverio Piazza, who's in P2 at his home race. If he loses this position, I'm sure he's going to be very, very sad. He might need some pizza and pasta when he gets home, but I mean, he is racing some of the fastest guys on the grid right now. He's got TCR just behind him, who absolutely dominated last race as well, especially compared to the performance that we've seen from Marcel Miku in the past. I mean, he's still got a chance, but here we go. He goes to the outside, Audi to the inside. It's pretty much the move sealed by the time they get to the braking zone. Not quite, though. The Civic hangs on to the brake slightly later. Oh, my goodness, and loses it as well on the exit of the corner. Very slow exit there, and here comes the rest of the grid. And just like that, he's down to P5. One mistake, and that's all that it takes to lose 4 positions. Saverio Piazza down to P5.
Talking about mistakes, we haven't seen Marcel Miku make any. I think that start from him really gave him the confidence to just keep on pushing, and I mean, that's what he's doing right now. Nearly a 5-second gap from him to Pernetsis in P2, so wow, I mean, after what happened last race, I think he's really trying to prove yet again why he's a championship leader, and I mean, showing us he really is. I think I saw him hold back a bit in that corner, not really pushing it 100%, which is, I mean, something smart to do. You don't want to lose that gap, which you can hold right now, as, yeah, I can foresee him, you know, taking the win from this race.
Yeah, once he gets some open air, this man is generally just off into the sunset. But, of course, we saw it even just last race as well. Mistakes happen, and that's how we lost the race to lead a couple of times, and towards the end as well, when your tyres have worn down, when you're frustrated, when that red mist descends, it takes all you've got just to keep the car on track. And to be honest, it was a miracle he finished on the podium at all. So as long as he keeps it cool and the red mist does not descend in any way, shape or form, he should be fine. But again, yeah, anything can happen. We've still got another 14 minutes of racing action to go. And of course, we've also got the drivers behind that might be causing some issues. Cesar Sclias, 1.3 seconds off of Vasilis Pernetsis for P2. You can see he's closing ground just ever so slightly. He's within a second now. It was a terrible exit from the Audi ahead. You can see Christian Grzebowski also in the background lurking, waiting for an error from either of the two just ahead.
I think we're going to see a brilliant three-way battle unfold here soon. All Sclias has to do right now is put his Renault just right behind Pernetsis. Pernetsis then has to defend his rear wing off so that Grzebowski can join the battle, and then, yeah, we're going to have some absolute cinema here.
Oh, it's been a cinema just looking at these camera angles around the car. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. How do you call it? Cinema. It's not cinematography, but it's just brilliant camera placement, just brilliant broadcasting. There we go. Just brilliant broadcasting from the guys who made the software and just Assetto Corsa in general. And we do have a question from Maxim Beldich, who is WND4R. He did take the time out to change that, so it isn't as annoying to say. We appreciate that. It's the small things that matter to us commentators. When he asked, I was gone for a minute, what happened to the Rashto? Well, there was an incident.
Spectator scurs. Well, no, he had I think it was contact into Tamburello, if I'm correct, unfortunately. So, yeah, that set him off, unfortunately, and yeah, that's why he's sadly trailing 5 seconds behind right now, which it's not fun to see. No, he has a pace. Maybe Piazza can do a bit of lifting and coasting and deliver us with a beautiful battle, but I can understand him trying to stay in position right now and get that P5, get the points, and continue on in the championship.
Yeah, he's not likely to do that.
Shutting the hell up. I mean, you're always free to talk. It can spice things up, you know.
I mean, speaking of things spicing up, Vasilis Penetsis seems to have made a mistake. He's now right at, well, no, sorry, that was Tesos who made a mistake. 6.5 seconds behind Marcel Miku. That's probably within 0.6 of Vasilis Penetsis. Christian Brzgowski also now 0.4 seconds. We've got a three-way fight for P2 on our hands, ladies and gents, for the final 11 minutes of the race. And you could see Saverio Piazza in the foreground as well. That red Civic only 3.8 seconds behind. So if this battle gets major, he could be brought into this fight as well. And then Wiebe Narashto could be brought in as well, another 5 seconds behind Saverio Piazza, but that's a long way back. That's 8 seconds for him to gain to make it to this battle. We'll just focus on these three for now, though, and maybe the gap to Marcel Miku, which is extended up to 6.3 seconds by now. Any more mistakes and any major battling, that gap will just open up even further, and then it's just a nice Sunday afternoon drive for Marcel Miku, or shall we say Friday night drive?
Oh yes, exactly. I mean, Krzyzewski, just earlier around the Acqua Minerale, the speed he carried through that corner, the Cooper really put the power down there. As putting the power down, that's what Penetsis right now is doing into the slipstream of the Renault. We're gonna see some brilliant, is that bump drafting? Kind of looked like it, maybe a bit of net coding involved, but wow. As we see Vasilis Penetsis right now pull around the outside into the Tamburello chicane. Will he come out on top? No, it's still the Renault leading the way from P2 there. It's gonna keep on going, and then, I mean, we can see Narashto creeping up on Piazza, but then Piazza still has to creep up to Krzyzewski, who is trying his best to profit off of the situation unfolding in front of him. Krzyzewski just, yeah, he's a passenger. He has best seats in the house right now, I think. Just right behind the battle, right behind the chaos, and real chaos he hopes will happen so he can take the position from maybe 2 cars going off into the gravel.
Again, it's damage limitation for him, isn't it? His position in the championship as P2 behind Marcel Miku, our championship leader. Vasilis Penetsis looking a bit aggressive into Acqua Minerale. That's put him under threat from Christian Grzybowski on the exit zone. 0.2 seconds. There we go. The dive to the inside line for the Cupra. Heading into the chicane. It's going to be who's latest on the brakes. Nope, he does tuck back in behind them so that he can get a decent run out of this corner and then down into turn 16, 17 and then 18. Ravazza looking like the next best opportunity. But is this gap a bit too large for a move into there? I think so. I think we're going to see some brilliant stuff into turn 2, Tamburello for turn 2, side-by-side action into that first left-hander.
Well, I am starting to notice that Krzyzewski, through Acqua Minerale, is able to gain quite a bit of time, but once we enter Variante Alta, the car is just not the best. I don't think it is able to take either those massive curves well, or he's able to find the correct line for the Cupra through that corner, as gaps are a bit big this time around through Tamburello, so we're not seeing any moves yet, so maybe later on.
Yeah, the gaps have opened up slightly, so we'll have to wait slightly longer for this battle to unfold yet again. In the meantime, Marcel Miku just there in your foreground, heading up through turn 7. Tossa is leading the race at the moment. Vasilis Penetsis in P3 with Tesos Sklias holding on to P2. Christian Grzybowski behind, though, in P3 is looking very racy indeed, heading up the hill onto turn number 9. Piratella, here we go, through the left hand, and you can see the slide angle on that car. What do they call it? The slip angle, shall we say, on the tyres. Vasilis Penetsis right up on the rear end of Tesos now. There was an error from the Clio side by side through Acqua Minerale, and the Audi is now on the outside for the next corner. It's going to be the Megane on the defensive. Here we go. Christian Grzybowski also looking for opportunity here. Almost 3 wide into the chicane. And under braking, the Audi surges ahead. The Clio has lost that battle for now, but he's not lost the war. He's got another battle behind him, though. Christian Grzybowski also potentially looking for an opportunity. Tesos has got the slipstream on the Audi, heading into Ravazza, though. So this could get very interesting into the braking zone. And there's contact between them. The Audi goes straight on. just about managed to maintain that. There's contact between the Cupra and the Clio now. The Audi drops a position up the inside of the Cupra now. And here we go, Christian Grzybowski, Vasilis Penetsis and Teisos Sklias all vying for P2, heading down the main straight.
That hit on from the Megane, or what am I saying? The hit from the Renault to the Cupra hitting the Renault was just comedic gold. I mean, I let out a faint there because, wow, as the Renault retakes P2 right now, but we might see a switchback there from Bernetsis and the Audi. Are we seeing a 3 wide here almost?
Oh, the Clio on the inside. The Renault trying to defend his position into the first left-hander. The Audi's taking that position, though, around the outside. And we've swapped places for that P2 position. I was going to say it was the same order heading into Tamburello, and it's changed somewhat now between Teisos and Penetsis. Oh my goodness, there's contact between the two. Teisos looking for the inside line up into Piratella. Up the hill we go. Christian Grzybowski staying near enough to take opportunity of, if it arises, there's an opportunity there. He's just been punted ahead through the left-hander. We go into Aqua Minerale once more, and the Cupra again, just an ever-present threat in the Audi's mind. Heading through the right-hander, everyone fairly neat and tidy through there. It's going to get very interesting again down into Tamburello.
Yes, into Variante Alte. But yet again, I mean, the Cupra has so much power in Sector 2, and once we're in Sector 3, like right now, the car isn't able to handle it. He's losing time yet again. Last lap, I noticed it again. The Renault had a bad exit there, yet it's still gained from Grzybowski with a good exit from his car. So it's very unfortunate to see him lose there, because this section sets up the straight, sets up the move into turn 1, which he unfortunately isn't really able to make right now. So yeah, I think the Cupra has its big weakness around this track, and that's Sector 3.
It's going to be all about maximizing his potential in Sector 2, and that includes corners such as Tossa, Piratella and Aqua Minerale. That's where he needs to make his moves before he gets up the hill into that chicane Gresini turns 14 and 15. That's really where he's going to make the most of that opportunity, isn't it? He's got 5 minutes remaining to do so, though, so time is of the essence for him.
I mean, it is very tricky, very dangerous to make a move down the inside around Aqua Minerale, but sometimes you have to take that risk. Sometimes you have to risk maybe punting off your opponent. I mean, we saw it happen in the final 2 corners a few laps ago. They punted each other a bit, not really encouraging it, of course, but sometimes you have to take the risk, and it's a risk Grzybowski should be looking at right now as we're nearing the final laps, of course.
I mean, all things will come in due time. He's now just under a second behind these two, so he's really just waiting for a mistake from one or both of them, and then he can get involved in this fight. He just needs to hope that happens in Sector 2, where he can take the most advantage, or if it happens in Sector 3, then he's got Sectors 1 and 2 to then build up a small lead on them before they can start fighting back. Hopefully do something like a hit and run, you know, just take the momentum and just keep running with it. Yeah, it's getting very spicy. 3 minutes to go. Marcel Miku built up a 12.5 second gap on these two. Well, 3, I should say. He's now up to about 14 seconds. The timer's a bit wonky at the moment. But that gap between Vasilis Penetsis and Christian Grzybowski has opened up to 1.2 seconds now. I'm not sure he's going to catch up again unless some mistake is made from the cars ahead.
I saw him slide a bit in the final corner, so I think that's what cost him quite massively. And I wanted to see Piazza and Nerasto fighting again, maybe fight of the night, so to say, but Sklias, Bernetsis and Grzybowski have been having such a long 3-way battle, so that does take it from me, but still, we're seeing a very, very recognizable battle from race 1 here today, as Grzybowski makes a move around the outside. That doesn't work, he's onto the grass, but I hope he's able to hold on to it, as you know, Sklias right now, he's gonna walk away with it. It's a 2.2 second gap right now. Grzybowski, however, it's now or never, my friend. Just, if you think you can, send it. Same for Naresto. If you think you can, send it. And I mean, send it, he will. The car ahead of him, Severio Piazza, here at his home track, made the mistake, so he's now down to P6, unfortunately, as Naresto claims at P5 gracefully.
Just like that. I mean, it wasn't a graceful move from Piazza, unfortunately, but he's still on the rear end of Weber Narashto heading into that chicane. So this battle is far from over between those two as far as we're concerned. In fact, it's only just starting, heading down to Ravazza. It's looking a very similar story to Christian Grzybowski and Penetsis. He's using the slipstream. He wants to get out of that slipstream on the inside line for this corner. Lovely bit of overtaking there. Lovely use of the brakes heading into that left-hander. Beautiful braking from both of them. And he's now taken that position. Vasilis Penetsis just about staying ahead of Christian Grzybowski there as well. For a second, I thought we saw the time come down there, but Piazza and Weber Narashto still having at it, heading down into Tamburello. The Civic on the outside yet again. That seems to be his favourite place on the circuit, heading into the first left-hander, and then it's the Audi on the inside line trying to take that position. Slight bit of contact there. They've somehow managed to get there without any major issues, and they're heading into the S's once more. It is the final lap of the race, I believe. Marcel Miku is not going to make it to the line before that timer expires. 0.2 seconds between these two, though, as their fight continues, and Christian Grzybowski seems to be on the rear end of Vasilis Penetsis for the final step on that podium. Weber Narashto, though, looking for that top 5 position up the inside of Tossa, and he's got that move done and dusted. Beautiful move there. But again, he tags the grass on the exit. Here comes Severio Piazza in the Honda Civic once again on the inside line for this left-hander up at Piratella. And he's just about got that move done, leaves some space around the outside. In the meantime, Christian Grzybowski cannot close the gap to Vasilis Penetsis for P3. The Audi up the inside for Aqua Minerale doesn't quite manage it, but the Honda Civic sideways. This could give him an opportunity up into the chicane.
Like I said before, I got to look at the corner name again. Varianta Alta or Varianta Narashto. Will he make it stick? No, not completely. That was unfortunate. I mean, he still has one shot. I mean, 2 shots really, 2 corners, but he has to make it stick around the first one as Marcel Miku wins in a dominant fashion with Tassos Klias P2, but Narashto right now tries to make it stick around the outside. Will he try the inside now? He hit a bit of gravel, so I think that is it for him. A bit of slipstream, but it won't be good enough. Bernetz P3. Grzybowski P4 after a hard-fought battle as Piazza takes P5, Narashto P6, their same finishing positions from last time, but still a great battle nonetheless.
Marcel Miku then finally gets his race win for tonight. There you can see your top 3, Tassos Klios and Vasilis Penetsis P2 and P3. Christian Grzybowski unable to make up the gap for that final podium position. Severio Piazza and Weber Narashto fighting to the bitter end. Incredible, incredible battle to watch all race long, and they've truly provided us with some incredible entertainment tonight. Marcel Miku, he's just happy he's had that one dominant drive at least tonight, and he's hopefully got a point improvement on his closest championship rival, which is Christian Grzybowski. This should spice things up heading into one more race and then half the season. Can you believe it? We're almost halfway through the season. Marcel Miku's championship position is looking stronger and stronger every race week.
Well, yes, exactly. And I mean, next week is going to be very fun as well. Brands Hatch, not the biggest circuit, but very fun nonetheless, especially turn 1 and turn 2. Turn 2 Druids, very fun. I love the inside curve there, but you always have to be careful there. It's still a tight track like Imola, but also very fun nonetheless. But yeah, I must say today 2 great races, especially the second race. It was clear Marcel Miku was on rails after that start, just flying everywhere, no mistakes made, and yeah, he took a well-deserved win.
Absolutely. Especially after all the stuff that he went through in race 1, trying to make up for those errors. He's managed to make it through all the way. And he's actually joined us via radio. He's still out on track doing his victory lap, but he joined us in the commentary box with his virtual voice. I mean, technically speaking, we're all virtual at the moment. We're all joined virtually online. But Marcel Miko, incredible second race. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Well,
Right, and that concludes round 4. No, Jake.
Well, I mean, I definitely have a question about race 1. You went from P1 or P2 suddenly to P4. What happened there?
Honestly, I have no idea. It felt like the tires just gave up on me or something like that. I don't have much of a clue.
Was it in turn 1 maybe? Or
I feel like it might have been just a suspension thing, and the fact I was just slipping an awful lot after that.
yeah, because we unfortunately missed that issue you had there, because I was thinking you might have overshot the curb on the right side at turn 1 and hit a bit of grass which sent you straight into the gravel while braking. So tires or setup related, do you think?
I'd say it's probably a combo of both. I mean, I already have the suspension quite stiff to try to reduce the amount of weight transfer I'm getting when I'm braking. So,
I mean, yeah.
and then the tire, like, it just depends on how I drive. If I slide an awful lot, they just give up.
You still had a great race 1 nonetheless, in my opinion. Climbing your way back up to P3 on the podium there, extending your championship lead, especially with the dominant win in race 2.
Yeah, to be honest, that second race, I was basically like, just lock in, try not to do it again, and just bring it home at least.
I mean, that's what you clearly did.
Yep, not much more needed to be said about that. Just lock in, don't do what I did in that first run, and then just bring the car home at least.
So,
Any questions from you, Yanis?
yeah, so heading into the rest of the season then, you've had 4 pretty up and down races so far, 4 pretty much up and down, well, I wouldn't say races because we've had double headers as well, isn't it? 4 rounds of racing, so to speak. And you've had ups and downs in all of them. How do you see the rest of the season going? Do you see maybe the Tradition Sim Sport guys maybe coming back and being a bother again? Could you see Christian Grzybowski being a particular threat to your championship chances? What are your thoughts heading into the next couple of races?
I mean, I definitely think I've got the chance to get the title, but knowing next run is Brands Hatch, which isn't a track I really like all that much, it'll be tricky to see how things go for there. But I think from that point onward, we've got Spa, Okayama. What else after that?
We've got quite a few things coming up. Let me just get that up
Yeah,
again.
Road America, Barcelona 9 and 10, and 8 is Red Bull Ring. I think after Brands Hatch, things could even out and I could be back in my game. But it's gonna be tricky to see how it goes, especially with how the season's been going overall. Not just for the TCR, but for the other divisions I've been in too. It's so far not been a good play.
But I mean, it makes up for some good drama, for some good viewing action for us. Could you see yourself fighting someone hard in particular in the next couple races? Is there anyone in particular that you see as a threat to your championship chances?
I mean, right now, how are the standings looking, if I may ask?
At the moment, it's Christian Grzybowski who's in P2. He seems to be your closest rival. I mean, heading into this race, this round, it was a 12 points difference, which obviously, if you take the scoring into account, it's a 14-point difference between P1 and P2. So it's essentially just a P1 and P2 finish difference there. But because of the double header today, I think you've extended your gap over Christian Kazbowski, so it's going to be more than 12 points now. Anthony Perkin is out of the picture. He's on 122 points in P3. And then Wieben Rashto, 94 points down in P5. And then the rest of the grid pretty much outside the picture. So Christian Kazbowski is your closest competition when it comes to the scoreboard. But in terms of results today, I think you may have gotten the win here for the time being.
Yeah. I mean, I think with the competition, I mean, I know Muas, I think he'll be quite a tough one to deal with. I know he's quite quick.
Mm.
I mean, we've seen him at Mugello. I, at that point, wasn't even really set up yet fully. And even now, I'm still struggling with the vehicle. And, I mean, it depends. I'd say, I mean, the three Greeks definitely did put up a good fight. I can definitely say that. So, I definitely would say they might be on the par. And then, of course, the guys that we had at Watkins, is it the FSR guys or TSR guys? I think the TSR guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, the TSR guys, they've already proven to be competitive. I mean, it's going to be a tough one. I mean, we'll see what happens with Brands Hatch and then kind of go from there. As I said, I think after round 5, things should be evening out.
Yeah.
And I should be back in my game.
So that gives you then half a season to defend your position, or try and play catch up to whoever is posing a challenge. I'm not sure whether it's going to be a double header next week at Brands Hatch, but I think having double headers every race sounds like a recipe for loads of racing action, loads of drama, and just tons of entertainment on track. And speaking of entertainment on track, we've got Wieben Rashto, who's joined us in the commentary box as well, alongside Marcel Miku. Weber, what a race from you and Piazza. What was it like going head to head with a driver on his home track for 40 minutes straight?
Yeah, it was crazy. But if you thought Marcel Miku's interview was informal as he was on his in-lab, I am now holding my phone and lying on the bed. So it couldn't get more informal like this, because it's 6:17 a.m.
Of course, yeah. I mean, if our viewers don't know, Wieben Rashto is one of our most dedicated drivers who chooses to join us for TCR racing at 5 o'clock in the morning. So he's still got the rest of his day ahead of him to look forward to. Or maybe dread, I guess, depending on the results of your race. But don't let that determine the entire kind of vibe of your day. So in terms of your championship position then, P5 at the moment, you've got Maxim Beldage, who wasn't able to race today. And you've also got some other drivers catching up. Vasilis Panetsis this week as well. He'll have done well to close the gap to you in P5. How are your championship, I guess, how's your championship looking, pretty much? What are your thoughts on your current position?
I don't really care about the championship, because I know like Marcel Miku is very fast. The Greek guys, like you said, Jabowski, Pernetis, and who's the other guy again? Oh God, my memory is so bad. But yeah, they're all fast, and also the German guys who raced in Watkins Glen. So all I want is to have a bit of fun and have somebody that is on similar pace to me, like Piazza is today. So I'm glad that me and Piazza both raced tonight, because if one of us didn't race, well, the other one is going to have a lonely race, because the other four guys are way too fast for us. So, yeah.
Do you imagine him as kind of your closest rival on track? Could you see some more battles in the future with Piazza?
Well, yeah, I think last season we were quite similar on pacing on a few tracks already. So. But in the end, I don't really care about the championship that much, because I think I'm gonna miss like 2 or 3 more rounds in the next 6 anyway. So all I want is to have fun in the races, and I think I had way more fun today than a week ago in Watkins Glen. So that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we all do this for fun. We all just love racing, and it sounds like you guys have had an absolute blast today. I'm jealous.
Yeah, but you guys also had a blast in commentary because I was so chill that I even had the Twitch stream on. So I don't think I've
Ah,
ever done that in a race, but
well,
today I thought
I,
why not? And you
I
two did
would
a
be
brilliant job.
I would personally be stressing if I got live commentary on my overtakes and moves. But that's just me personally. But still, yeah, it was a great battle from you and Piazza. It was really enjoyable to watch, especially that you guys gave each other space. Also, at one point in a straight line downhill, the penultimate corner, you started braking and the rear stepped out. What happened there?
Yeah, so basically there's a kink before like the braking zone.
Yeah.
I think I was a little bit too wide on entry, so I tried to turn that little bit more to the right to go to the edge of the track to open up the corner. But because my setup is basically something that I devised about 5 minutes into qualifying, so the setup is somehow very unstable at the back. So every time if I brake and turn even 5 degrees, the rear just completely goes without any chance of saving. So I have to do perfect straight line braking, which is also very difficult to do on the controller. So that time I just turned right. I think like 7, 10 degrees, and then the rear just said, "Nope, I am gone."
I mean, I'm glad you both luckily walked away from that. But yeah, great racing today.
Thank you.
Yeah, Maxim Beldage just commented, one day I got to make a compilation of you guys mispronouncing my surname, by the way. I mean,
How do
Narashto,
you pronounce that?
yeah, I mean, that's literally what I'm about to ask him is like, Maxim, how do we pronounce your surname? And I also then want to ask you two, are we pronouncing your surnames correctly? Because it's as far as we're concerned, like it's everyone else calls you guys that, so we're not. As far as I know, like we're doing the best we can. But is there any different way that we should be pronouncing your surnames?
No, I mean it's a name that I completely made up with, so it's not even. I think Baldi or Baldich. I don't know if the J should be pronounced, but I believe his name is actually a real name. Mine isn't even a real name, so I don't even care. Call whatever you want,
Oh,
as you
cool.
like.
We'll call you Aldi.
I mean, it's the same with my name. I mean, in a way, the first bit is my real name, but the second bit is.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Ooh, mysterious.
Ooh.
But yeah, I mean, it's our curse. I always think it's that correlation between us being able to cast commentator curses, but then our curse is having to pronounce all the surnames and all the fun that comes with that. But I think that is going to be us for this evening. We're going to wrap up now. Thank you guys so much for joining us in the commentary box. It's been amazing watching you guys race and hearing your input afterwards as well. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And for those of you online also watching, to the 4 viewers who are still watching us now at the end, after the end of about half an hour of just chatting, we always appreciate you guys sticking around to the bitter end and also just being here for the awesome action bits and playing your part and just commenting as well. We like it when you guys interact with us. It gives us something to talk about as well. So next week we have got almost said Imola. We've got Brands Hatch on the schedule, round 5, and that will then mark our halfway point for the season. As far as no, we don't have a mid-season break. It's going to be straight onto the action on the 21st, onto Spa for round 6. And then we've got another 4 rounds of racing after that to look forward to. The championship standings all still fairly up in the air. We've got half a season of racing to go, and we've got a few championship protagonists and antagonists starting to roll up. So join us next week for all of that. In the meantime, we've got ACC and LMU happening this weekend as per usual. And then, of course, the usual stuff next week with Tartus and MX5, all the usual times on Thursday and Friday, and then TCR, of course, 9 p.m. GMT and UTC, I think, as well, on Friday night. So do be sure to join us all for that next week. Until then, we'll see you all later. Good night.
Good night.